Well, the cap no longer fits. Our nurses, firemen, policemen, teachers, doctors, civil servants are calling on Chancellor Hammond to end the loathed 1% cap on public sector pay deals. Labour's magic money tree is business. Rises in corporation tax will cover it, the opposition says. But Labour's not in power yet. Hammond has pointed out that he can't conjure up a 3% rise for workers without raising taxes or borrowing, as it's going to cost $5 billion a year. So, if we're going to be fair to those who work in the public sector and those who pay for it, Spreadsheet Phil has to increase general taxation. We can't only rob corporate Peter to pay Comrade Paul, but all of us, after all. As some cabinet members who must be nameless clearly worry, the cost of not lifting the cap on public sector pay could be this: Theresa May packing her boxes and Jeremy Corbyn moving into Downing Street. Is that what you really want?
I completely agree with you, Rachel. And I have to say, you know, we talked about this a bit last week as well, and I was thinking about it afterwards, and the way, the language we use, the kind of the 1% pay cap, it kind of masks the reality, which is actually a pay cut, you know, in real terms, looking at inflation. In reality, we are taking money away from the frontline public service, people who are constantly being praised by the Prime Minister and others for the incredible work they do during terrorist attacks or tragedies like Grenfell Tower. We're taking money away from them, and to me, it's not even an option, you know, the idea that they should be subsidising our public finances. But I do just want to pick up on certain cabinet members who shall remain nameless, because I would love to get some insight from you, you know, as to what exactly is going on here, because this is what your darling brother had to say about it this week.
What the Chancellor says is very sensible, and don't underestimate the achievement of this government already in cutting the deficit by 3/4, and I think what Philip Hammond has set out is reasonable.
Well, I mean, I can't obviously speak for the Foreign Secretary, and I think that what he did say about the public sector pay cap was possibly overcooked when it appeared in The Guardian, which is a paper you write for, and so I can't really comment on that. So let us actually, at this point, bring in a quote from Philip Hammond. It has to be a grown-up debate where we acknowledge that borrowing to fund consumption is merely passing the bill to the next generation. The serious question to the electorate cannot be, would you like us to tax someone who isn't you to pay for you to consume more, but would you be willing to pay more tax to consume more public services? Nick, question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Because I think I know what you're going to say, which is that in the private sector, people in the public sector are actually getting better deal than those in the private sector, and they also have ironclad pension schemes.
Yeah, that's true.
Were you going to say that?
No, it wasn't the point I was going to make, because I've got far more interesting points than that load of old drivel that you were chopping. The truth of the matter is the cap has to go, but it's not through higher taxation. Nobody. I don't want to pay. I'm just
Magic money tree?
No, I'm just about to explain, and I think I've referred to this in previous. I can point to the foreign aid budget. I had a figure of $4 billion.
HS2 Hinkley Point.
Why do you groan? Why do you want to?
No, I agree with you.
Hold on a second. Never have the richer paid more tax than they are paying now. It has, I think, trebled. Anyway, you can bore the viewers with figures. They just switch off. But it's gone up a lot over the last few years. Nick, they don't want, and they shouldn't have to pay anymore.
Will these one-off capital projects and scrapping them actually really sort out the public sector pay problem?
Well, you've suddenly found £55 billion by dropping HS2, yes.
Well, I'm with you on that.
So there we are.
No, OK.
Let's roll out broadband. More and more businessmen and women aren't travelling anyway. We actually need more trains on existing train services, particularly into cities like London, cities such as Manchester, cities such as Liverpool. They haven't got enough trains. So let's put the money in there and let's give these folk... you've got $5 billion. That's happy. We can find that. I've just saved £55 billion. Next!
You should be Chancellor. Forget.
I really hope not, because you're confusing capital with income. That's not a long-term source of income.
That's what I thought I said. But can we leave capital expenditure and investment?
I agree with you, and I think actually...
Well, there's a surprise.
Me or Nick?
You. Yeah. I hardly ever agree with Nick. I mean, I think that we have to be honest, and actually Brexit means that taxes are going to need to go up anyway, and let's start preparing people for the reality of what's to come. And actually, I think what you said is spot on. We all have to pay for this. We can't be complaining and not actually be prepared to put our money where our mouth is.
How do you know that Brexit equal... Oh, you're Mystic June now. How do you know?
June's right. The OBR has said it's going to cost about 40 billion pounds a year.
Even what we need to pay the EU to get out of our deal.
We don't even know the deal.
Oh, come on.
We don't know the deal.
We know it's going to cost
I've got a question for Michelle, because she's a business expert.
Sorry.
Labour's magic money tree and trying to obviously support their client state, because most public sector workers, which number 5 million, probably vote Labour.
Yeah.
Is it correct to say that you could fund this out of corporate taxation? Doesn't that just depress everything for everybody?
Yeah, I think I don't like this business bashing and this success bashing that Labour keep doing. So you was referring to a stat, and I've got a stat here. So corporation tax, it was 55% higher in the last year than it was in 2010. Okay. Now the rate at the moment is much lower than it was in 2010. So increasing rates of taxation doesn't automatically increase the receipts of taxation, is my first point. And I just think that why is everybody's answer always to everything just pay more tax, pay more tax, pay more tax?
Your answer to everything is always we've got to get rid of waste, but they haven't. It's not as if they haven't tried that. But it's not just waste.
So first of all, I agree with you, by the way, that this cap should go. I think we all agree on that. I think
So then how do you propose we pay for it?
Well, first of all, sorry to sound like a stuck record, but I would, and I constantly say about inefficiencies and ineffective spending.
But how much more will that bring?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to do a proper review of it. This is my point. It's never been properly reviewed. My second point is foreign aid. He mentioned foreign aid. No, and you did exactly that. Why?
Because that costs us in other ways. Once we go down that road, we end up with situations like what we have in terms of Syria. We pay for it in other ways.
That's such a blinding success story, isn't it?
What we need with foreign aid is to make sure that we create good governance and safe countries in those regions, so those people aren't trying to come here.
We've got a fantastic job with that.
Afua, bail me out. Come on, you know the reality of...
I can hardly bring myself to enter this discussion. The idea that you can just raid the foreign aid budget to pay for essential public services
and it costs you in the end.
Nonsense. And I think I hate to say it, but I think you're a bit confused. I think you're a bit confused. This whole Brexit debate is about Britain's role in the world.
We're not talking about Brexit. We're talking about public sector
Britain,
pay.
the centre of the Commonwealth. Britain, with this huge global influence. The foreign aid budget is not some benevolent act of charity that we do because we're lovely people. We have real self-interest. It gives us influence. Yes. It allows us to maintain our position.
It shouldn't be committed in law. And what happens when it's committed in law, and that's my issue with foreign aid, you've set a target and people waste it and spend it everywhere in order to hit that target.
On waste and inefficiencies, we've got the cuts in public expenditure 2010 to 2016. And, admittedly, international development's up 24%.
Well, that's ludicrous.
Of course, health is up 7%, but local government, i.e., our councils that try and keep our tenants safe in their beds, down 51%. I mean, how could they be cut more to the bone than they are already?
Where Michelle is right, I understand the budget, and again, not too many figures, but the budget of the NHS is about, 120, 130 billion per annum. So you're not even looking at a 5%, you're looking at a less than a 5% saving to fund that £5 billion. Michelle is right, get a load of business experts, get the people who run Sainsbury's and Marks and Spencer's and Tesco and God knows what else, get them in, they will find you 4.5% or whatever it is in a heartbeat.
But
mainly in fees to them from us.
Haven't we tried that with all these expensive consultants?
But the thing with the NHS, and everybody's afraid to say it because NHS is something that I use the NHS, I value the NHS, and I want the NHS to remain and to work, not be creaking at its sides. But I feel strongly that there are too many inefficiencies. If you go to various, I was involved for various reasons in a case review, the amount of managers and people that was in this environment. And so, like, when we think of the NHS, we think about nurses and all of these frontline people. The layers and layers and layers of management.
With any bureaucracy.
But that doesn't make it okay.
But that's right.
Hang on.
Anything that gets that big.
So you're telling me, hang on, but then you're telling me, you've just responded to me, when I've just said there's layers and layers of management, your response is, well, that's like any bureaucracy. But hang on a minute, then you're asking me to pay more to fund that ridiculousness.
I'm asking you to pay more for the staff.
If I were a nurse watching this, the message I would be getting is you're saying that me being paid a fair wage is dependent on finding some cost saving somewhere else.
Hang on, we
need to commit to raising public sector wages.
Hang on, because I'm a nurse's child. Just so you know, I am a nurse's child. My mum and my sister. My mum and my sister are both NHS nurses, by the way. And I said right at the start that I I think that this pay cap, it shouldn't be there. They should be paid fairly for what they do.
But you're not explaining how we pay for it.
I've explained it. You just don't like my answer.
Who agrees we should lift the cap on public sector?
Yes.
Who would pay 1% on income tax to do so?
It's all right for you.
No, 1p.
It's all right. You wouldn't pay as much.
You wouldn't.
They can't afford it. No, I'm there for the people watching this. They can't afford